Alright, so as promised, we told you we bought a new toy. I'm going to say Adam bought this toy, because Adam's our welder, so once he gets something set in his mind, he doesn't let her go. So we definitely bought this faster than I was expecting. We are, as you've probably, hopefully seen, we're not big spender, big shop, high dollar kind of guys. We don't typically spend a ton on the stuff that we use literally every season through parts sales and, derby costs, and we don't really win much, but in the event that we do, all that type of stuff, we usually come out better than even because we aren't the kind of people that spend a ton of money trying to make everything as fancy, high dollar, everybody else built it as possible. So this was our latest acquisition. It is the new Harbor Freight welder that they are selling at a lower dollar amount than you can get it anywhere else. So I don't know a ton about this stuff. I know that I love welding with this thing, but I'm going to let Adam here do the talking, and then we'll also show you a little bit of a peek through the helmet. I can't guarantee, ignore the stuff falling down over there. That's perfect timing. I don't know that the video will be great through the helmet, but we did a little bit of a test, and it kind of looked pretty cool, so we'll show you it actually welding as well. But Adam, what do you think of the welder so far?
I really like it. The first couple years that we actually built cars, as you can see up on the shelves, we've got a pretty good collection of the Chicago Electric 110 flux core wire welders. I think you could pick those up for right around $100 with a coupon at Harbor Freight. And we've only burnt one of them up. Well, matter of fact, the only reason why we've got so many is because we stack them on top of each other, because they do get hot and they have a safety shut off, and if you're in the middle of welding a door seam and it shuts off, we flip the switch, grab the next one, and we just keep going. So we kind of kept them running tandem. We've been running this one for a couple weeks now, and we haven't had it overheat once. I think part of the reason is there's a much better welder than the Chicago Electric. So this is the Vulcan OmniPro 220. This is pretty much the biggest one that you can buy through Harbor Freight. They run a couple different sales with the coupon again. You can't use the 20% off on anything Vulcan. So gloves, wire, anything like that. But just so you know, if you Google the Vulcan Harbor Freight coupon, there is one coupon out there that does not expire. We might even be able to post that in the comments. And it's a lifetime 20% off of any Vulcan accessory. So even the Vulcan gloves, helmets, the wire, the rods, all that stuff, you can still get the 20% off. But that coupon does not work on the welders itself. So when they run the specials, you can pick these up from anywhere between $1,100 and $850 on the weekend that we got this one. So when we looked at buying a new welder, again, we've always used flux core, 110. They get hot enough to do the majority of the things that we focus on with the derby cars. The doors, no problem, things like that. However, the cages, barely enough to get by. You gotta either preheat it with a torch, or you got to make about 3 passes to get good penetration, and that's supposed to be the safest part of the car, so you don't want to skimp on a welder. This one, however, comes with, you can kind of see the leads here, 110 capabilities, and these are really nice power cords. This is actually pretty thick, a lot thicker than your standard that you find, and you can run it as 110, and it also comes with a 220 cord as well. So you simply just unplug this one, plug this one in, and you can run 220. So that's one of the main reasons that we got it. Again, with the variety of things that we actually weld here in the shop on the derby cars, the majority of everything has been flux core, but the Vulcan 220, the OmniPro, has the capability of running arc welding with sticks. You can do TIG welding, you can do MIG welding with flux core or gas shielded, either way. You can even weld aluminum with a spool gun, so they sell all the attachments. It does come with the arc to do arc welding, and it does come with actually a really nice gun for doing all of your MIG welding, flux core or gas shielded, so you can do that as well. That's what we'll be showing you in the demonstration. Now, of course, with a ton of attachments, it can get kind of confusing what goes where and all these things, so I want to show you. This is actually all digital. So whenever you first turn it on, it's got a power switch down here at the bottom. Takes it a couple seconds. Really big heavy duty fan. It's actually got one in the front and one in the back, it sounds like. So it comes up to this screen right away. All you have to do is go to the home, and here are all of your selections right at the bottom. So you take your main knob, MIG steel C100, flux cord, stainless, manual CV, the spool gun for aluminum, stick welding, TIG welding, and your settings. So all you have to actually do, we're going to do flux core today. Let's try that one. Push enter, and it shows you what leads go where. So there's no gas required. We don't have to worry about that. This lead, shown here, goes over and plugs into the negative. So you just turn, make sure there's a little positive here and the negative. Plug that right in, tighten it down, and then your ground actually goes in the positive. So this is our ground. We've got ran to our welding table. Again, it just twists, pops out. So whatever setting you go to, it'll actually give you directions on what goes where for that application. Just hit confirm, and it automatically goes to the 18 gauge and using a 3/0 wire. So you have the option to do 3/5, 3/0. So you just go to, we're going to use 3/0, and the thickness of the metal we're going to do, we're going to take it to 18 gauge, confirm again, and these are the factory settings. So it automatically puts you on a wire feed level of 121 and a voltage of 16.2. Now the nice thing about this is, again, like you heard Cody say, I do the majority of the welding, a little more experienced. Instead of having to come over here and go through that each time to get on his level, and then I come over and grab the welder to weld something I want to weld, and I have to turn all of my adjustments back to what I like to do, you can actually push this button again and go into your settings, and you can recall a setting. So right now, if you look, you can save a setting. We go to the recall, and I'm number 1, so I just click number 1, recall, yes, and now it's got all of my settings. A little higher wire speed is basically the biggest difference between what he and I do. So that is super nice when you've got a couple guys working out of the same shop that are going to be using the same welder. So we'll take a look at the internals here. Really nice accessible door. This is all really thick casing and everything too. It's a Harbor Freight welder, but it's not skimpy like a lot of the Chicago Electric stuff that we've used in the past. This is a pretty durable composite or plastic here, most of the shell, but this is all metal. It's got a cold wire feed switch. This is amazing. When you're trying to put a spool of wire on and hold a gun and squeeze the trigger and get everything to feed through, it's a big pain in the butt. When this machine is on and you're ready to load your wire, it's the same as any other welder. You pop this down, you feed the wire through, you can set your tension. I like mine to be at, as you can see here, a number 3. So it's got a 5, 4, 3, and you can adjust the tension on there. I like it right around a 3. It's got different groove slots in this wheel. These are for your different gauges of wire. So we've got it in the 030 right now. That's what we're running. This is actually the Vulcan brand wire. The kit does come with the gauges, everything to do your CO2 regulator, all the attachments and everything that you need for your argon, CO2 mixture. And it's really nice stuff. I'm impressed. Not only did it come with that, but they actually give you 2 Vulcan full rolls of wire. These aren't just test half rolled spools. These are the $20 is about the average these go for. You get one for your MIG solid wire, and then you get one that's flux core as well. So that's a $40 value just right there, not including the gauges.
And here soon we will have an argon tank, and we'll definitely be running without the flux core here fairly soon, but we're running with what we have, and you know what? That's where you got to start. And there's plenty of folks out there that'll tell you to spend a gazillion dollars on all this crap, but that's just not how we do things.
No, there's nothing we haven't been able to weld yet with this welder. We have a smaller, I believe these are, yeah, this is just like a 2-pound roll, or have you whatever here. It does come with the attachment to go with the gigantic, like 10-pound rolls, if you want to go to those. So that's really nice too. These last us a while. We've gotten much more proficient. All the instructions, all the different rated duty cycles, the stick settings, TIG settings, MIG and flux settings are all on the lid, just like most welders have on there. Very easy to set up. The instructions come. The only thing that I had difficulties with whenever I put it together, again, I was so used to the Chicago Electric, that whenever you have this welder all ready to go right now and you squeeze the trigger on the gun, I don't know if you can zoom in there, Cody, at the wire, no matter what your speed is at, that's how fast it comes out, and then it automatically stops. That's because it doesn't sense a current. It knows you're not welding. So if I accidentally throw this down and it lays on the button, it's not going to just keep spooling out while we're working in the shop. It stops. And it won't come out fast, so it gives you time to adjust to where you're going to be welding. Once it senses an arc, it automatically starts coming out full speed, whatever the speed you have it set on. So don't panic if you're putting it together and you're trying to feed the wire through and you're testing your wire speed. That's not a way you can actually test it. You have to go and start welding to adjust your wire speed. So that was the only thing that kind of threw me for a loop there.
And that's why it has that cold feed switch in there, so that you can have it shoot out faster when you're trying to just feed the wire.
Yes, so don't just squeeze the trigger for it to do. So we'll do a little demonstration here. This is actually some really thick stuff. This is 1/4 inch,
Yep, this is 1/4 inch, which is actually more than it is rated for on flux core. It's supposed to only go up to 3/16 with the flux core wire, no gas, on 110.
Correct.
But we'll be able to see, hopefully here through the helmet, get an idea of just how this thing operates.
So I'm going to run at a 200 inch per minute wire speed, and I'm going to turn our voltage 110 all the way up to 20 volts right now. So that's basically maxing out your 110 settings. And again, this is most of our cage material, so I'm just going to do a pretty quick bead. I'll do one here on the front. And we do get penetration. You'll be able to see from the inside. Here we go, going hot. So again, that was just a quick test bead there. I'm going to grab the wire brush. I'll clean that off. So again, that was 20 volts on a 200 inch per minute. It laid a really nice bead. We got good penetration. It's on there. It's solid. We do that all the way around on these. Your cage really isn't going to go anywhere. So very impressed with the quality and everything for just running on 110. We haven't even tried it on 220 yet, so pretty excited to see what our capabilities are when we go there.
Yeah, when we get to that point, we can certainly shoot another video. That probably won't be too long. I actually do not have 220 in this garage, however that may be coming soon. I really didn't want to be operating out of this space for too much longer. We can get in, we probably don't need to discuss too much of my personal life, but if you got questions, we'll always talk about that. I will probably be working out of this garage for at least this entire Derby season, and then hopefully we'll be able to have new things to come as the seasons roll on. As long as you guys enjoy continuing to listen to us babble, we'll probably keep putting this stuff up and let you know where we're progressing from there. But once we do get 220 hooked up, once we got gas, even if we're just running gas on 110, we'll make sure that we do an update video as far as what we think of this welder. Any final thoughts, Adam?
The last thing is whenever you go to power down, you flip the switch off. It stays on for just a couple seconds, and the nice thing is it'll go right back to wherever you were when you turn it back on. So if we flip the switch immediately back on, fires up. And it's right back on my saved setting where I turned it off. If you want to go back to the factory settings, you just go to the home and select what you're going to do again. Other than that, that's about it. Really happy with the OmniPro 220.
All right, hope that helps as you guys are looking at welders. I mean, you know, if you look at the high-end type of stuff, if you were to buy a welder like this, what's it going to cost you, Adam? If you were to buy something like this in one of those higher-end guys that we probably don't need to bash on our YouTube channel, but...
I was always a big fan of, we'll say, the blue welders. Everybody knows what those are. And those, to get something comparable to this as far as just a wire and all of that goes, you're probably looking closer to about $1,500–1,700. If you go with the red welders, then those are a little lower priced than the blue welders, and something similar for that again is going to be closer to the $1,200 to $1,500 range. But I'm not even sure if the red company or the blue company sells something in this price range starting out, and then especially something that has the capabilities of doing arc welding, TIG welding, MIG welding, any of those. So I'm going to say there's really not a comparable out there for them, but price range wise, you're going to pay almost double.
Perfect. If you guys have any questions, definitely feel free. You can drop them down the bottom. We can answer any questions that you may have. that we have the knowledge of. I mean, like we said, we've only been putzing around with this for a couple weeks, but by the time this video hits, we'll have probably been playing around with it for a little bit longer, so we'll definitely do our best to answer any questions you do have on it. As always, thanks for following along. Appreciate it, guys.